The ultrasound technician went completely still. Her hands stopped moving. She wasn't looking at the screen anymore, the monitor where my baby's heartbeat pulsed in gray and white. No, she was staring at my paperwork, at the name printed across the top, my husband's name. Then she reached over and shut off the machine, just turned it off, mid-exam, like someone had yanked the cord out of my entire world. Mrs. Hartley? Her voice came out barely above a whisper. You need to come with me, right now, privately. She led me down a hallway I'd never seen before, into her office, locked the door behind us. My heart was hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. Something's wrong with the baby. That's all I could think. Something's wrong, and she's trying to find the words to tell me. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. Then she said something I never, ever expected. You need to leave your husband. I blinked. What? Today, before you go home, call a divorce attorney first. I actually laughed. It just came out. I'm sorry, what are you talking about? We're having a baby together. We're happy. This doesn't make any... That's exactly the problem. Her face had gone completely white. What I'm about to show you, it's going to destroy everything you think you know about your marriage. She opened a file, slid it across the desk. But first, you need to understand how you got here. So let me take you back 4 months ago, when I thought I had everything figured out. My name is Sarah Hartley. I'm 31 years old. I work in corporate communications for a tech firm in Massachusetts, and I come from what people call generational wealth. My grandmother passed away 6 years ago, left me her entire estate, about $2.7 million in a trust, plus the family home, a historic property where 4 generations of women had lived, raised their families, built their lives. I never made a big deal about it. I worked hard, drove a 12-year-old Honda, got my coffee from the same shop every single morning. The money was security, not a personality trait. But it made me a target. I just didn't know it yet. I met Marcus Hartley 3.5 years ago at a charity event my family hosted every year. I was standing near the bar, trying to escape a man who'd asked about my financial portfolio within 2 minutes of shaking my hand. Classy. Then Marcus walked up. Tall, dark hair, warm smile. He asked what I was drinking, made a joke about the terrible live band, never mentioned money, not once. He said he was a wealth management consultant, got a last-minute invite from a colleague, had no idea who my family was. Looking back, that should have been the first red flag. A wealth consultant who doesn't research the host family of a major fundraiser? That's like a surgeon showing up to an operation saying, "Oh, we're cutting someone open today?" Had no idea. But I was so tired of obvious gold diggers, and here was this charming man asking about my favorite podcasts, not my bank statements. But what I didn't know was that Marcus had done his research, and the trap had already been set. We dated for 14 months. Marcus was perfect. Too perfect. He remembered everything, the small stuff, like how I took my coffee, or that I hated surprise parties, or that Thursdays were my longest workdays. He insisted on paying for dinners, even though I could have bought the entire restaurant without blinking. He seemed so genuine. My mom saw right through him. After their first dinner together, she pulled me into the kitchen. That man's smile doesn't touch his eyes. She said it so quietly, like she was afraid he'd hear through the walls. Something's off about him, Sarah. I can feel it. I told her she was being paranoid, overprotective, maybe even jealous. We've fought about Marcus constantly. Every phone call turned into an argument. Every visit ended with slammed doors. Eventually, we just stopped talking. 2 full years of silence. Birthday texts, holiday cards with no personal message. Nothing else. All because I chose Marcus over my own mother. Spoiler alert, Mom was right, and at this point, she's absolutely earned the biggest I told you so in human history. Marcus and I got married after a year and a half together. Beautiful ceremony at my grandmother's estate. He cried during his vows, real tears streaming down his face, promising to love me forever, to protect me, to build a life together. Looking back, those were probably the most honest tears he ever shed. Not from love, from relief. His long con was finally working. After 18 months of trying for a baby, nothing happened. Month after month of negative tests. We saw a fertility specialist. The diagnosis hit like a freight train. Marcus had severe male infertility, almost no sperm count, and what little he had barely moved. Natural conception was essentially impossible. The doctor said it so clinically, like he was reading a weather report. Marcus fell apart in the car, cried for 30 minutes straight, apologized over and over, like his body had personally betrayed me. I held him, told him we'd figure it out. That's what marriage meant, working through the hard stuff together. What I didn't know was that Marcus wasn't crying from grief. He was crying because his plan had just gotten way more complicated. All that emotion was him recalculating, not mourning. We decided on IVF, a specialized procedure where they inject a single sperm into an egg, our best shot. Marcus insisted on finding the clinic himself, said he wanted to take some of the pressure off me, researched everything, handled all the paperwork, picked the facility. At the time, I thought he was being supportive, thoughtful, taking care of me when I was emotionally exhausted. The first round failed. Devastating. I couldn't get out of bed for 4 days. Marcus held me through all of it, whispered encouragement, promised we'd try again. The second round, 6 months ago, worked. 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. I sobbed, happy tears for the first time in months. Marcus held me so tight, already talking about nursery colors, baby names, the future we'd always dreamed about. Then, casually, he mentioned something. We should probably update your will now. He said it so smoothly. You know, now that we're going to be a family. I thought it was sweet, responsible, the kind of thing a good husband thinks about. I had no idea he was already counting my grandmother's money as his own. Everything seemed perfect. The loving husband, the baby on the way, the life I'd dreamed about since I was a little girl. But in 3 months, a stranger with shaking hands would show me documents that would burn my entire world to ash. And I had no idea the fire was set by the man sleeping next to me every single night.
Before we go any further, if you're hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. What time is it there right now? I read every single comment. It means everything to me. Now, back to the story. 4 months pregnant, and something had shifted. Small things at first. The kind of things you notice but explain away, because the alternative is too terrifying to accept. Marcus started keeping his phone face down. Every surface, every table. New password I didn't know. He'd step outside to take calls, come back saying it was work, change the subject before I could ask questions. Late night calls at 10:30 on a Friday. Just restructuring a client's portfolio, he'd say. Now, I'm no financial expert, but I'm pretty sure the stock market closes at 4 p.m., unless Marcus had secret clients in London, which he definitely didn't. Something else was happening. He started working late, 3-4 nights a week, coming home after I was already asleep, smelling like expensive cologne I'd never bought him. When I asked about it, he'd get defensive. I'm working my ass off for this family, Sarah. Do you have any idea how much pressure I'm under? So I stopped asking, told myself I was being hormonal, paranoid, that pregnancy was making me see problems that weren't there. Then there was the money situation. Marcus had been talking about my trust fund more and more. Casual questions at first. How does the distribution work? Can you access it any time? What happens if, something happened to you? He'd ask me while we were watching TV, like he was asking about the weather. I told him the basics. The trust paid out monthly, full access when I turned 35, or immediately if I died, and it would go to my spouse and children. Standard estate planning. He nodded, didn't say much, but I saw something flicker across his face, something I didn't recognize. Looking back, it was hunger. Then came the ultrasound appointment, routine anatomy scan at 18 weeks. Marcus said he had a client meeting he couldn't miss, apologized 1,000 times, promised he'd make it up to me. I told him it was fine. I'd record the heartbeat on my phone, show him the pictures later. He kissed me goodbye that morning, longer than usual, hold my face in his hands. I love you so much, he said. You and this baby, you're everything to me. I believed him. I drove to the clinic alone, checked in, changed into the gown, lay back on that paper-covered table. The tech came in. Her name was Rebecca, mid-40s, warm smile, kind eyes. She squeezed the cold gel on my belly, started moving the wand around. I watched the screen, saw my baby moving, tiny hands, perfect little face. My heart felt so full I thought it might burst. Then Rebecca went still. Her smile disappeared. She stared at my chart, not the screen, the paperwork. Marcus's name printed right there at the top. Mrs. Hartley? Her voice had changed completely. I need to show you something, but first I need to ask you a question. She turned the monitor off. The room went quiet. Did your husband handle all the IVF paperwork himself? My stomach dropped. Yes. Why? She opened a file cabinet, pulled out a folder, set it on the counter between us. Because what's in here is going to change everything. And she was right. What I saw in that folder didn't just change everything, it destroyed it.
Part 2 is coming, and what Rebecca showed me in that folder, it's worse than you think. Way worse. Hit that subscribe button right now. Ring the bell because you need to see what happens next. And tell me in the comments, would you want to know the truth or would you rather stay in blissful ignorance? Drop your answer below. I'll see you in part 2.